Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Parker Eimerl, and this is the Eimerl Experience. Um, Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm excited to do this, and it's interesting because I'm recording out of a car, and it's not necessarily where I expected to be recording my first episode, but I did make a commitment to do 30 episodes in 30 days, and I plan to stick to it. And I think this show is just, it's going to vary. Sometimes it'll be a bit more refined, a bit more edited, and sometimes it'll just be me rambling. But most importantly, we're just going to have fun. I am excited, though, because sometime this week you guys are going to get an episode where I'm going to go out in the field and ask people a couple of different questions. But for this episode, I just have a notebook. If you're watching on video, you can see I have a notebook full of random things, and I'm just gonna talk, and we're gonna see what comes of it. However long it may be, we might bounce around a little bit, but I'm excited. And this page in my notebook is just kind of labeled "Why We Lead," and then it just kind of spiraled from there because I was feeling inspired. I also have in my phone. I got to pull up the notes on my phone because I have a bunch of notes in there as well. But I just want to start off by saying one of these lessons that I've learned, probably the most important lesson that I've learned, is that your words only mean something when your actions back them up. Right? I could say that I'm going to produce something for you. I could say that I'm going to do 30 episodes in 30 days. But it doesn't matter, and you can't even trust that I'm going to do it until I do it at least once. And that trust is built in drops, right? So every time that I put out an episode, I build trust with an audience that another one will come out. But it's lost in buckets. The second I don't put out an episode, well, now the amount you question me increases exponentially. And I just think that that's a really interesting thought to think about. Because I know as a tech guy, I've seen this with Linus Tech Tips as he had some controversy. And I'm not too involved. I'm not too, stuck on that controversy. But I think it's a really, really interesting thing to think about. How over time, even with your family, even with people who love you, you build trust. You build a reputation with them. And then it's really easy to throw that away, and it shows us the importance of reminding ourselves of our actions, keeping track of our actions, making sure that what we're doing is the right thing. Wisdom I've gotten from a man by the name of Matt Boudreau is that doing the right thing is always the right thing. And when you see people who not doing the right thing, it can make how you view them and what you expect from them and how much you value their advice. It can make that it can pummel their reputation, and it makes where they rank in your respect drop. Respect is another thing that falls into that category. Respect is built so slowly over time. Drops. Every little drop of respect, right? And I think when you meet someone in the time when you gain the most respect tends to be in the first, you know, I would say the 24 hours you spend with that person. And I don't mean the first 24 hours you know them. I mean the first, 24 hours of time that you've spent with them, right? But I think, again, it kind of exponentially decreases the amount of respect as respect goes up because you are learning more and more about the person. Like if I meet you and I have high respect for you off the bat because of the way you conduct yourself, that's going to be there. But as we continue to go forward and I continue to get to know you, I'm going to get more respect for you, or hopefully. But it's not going to be as much as I gained in that first, small amount of time that I knew you. And I just think that's so interesting, such a thought-provoking idea, especially when we look at the grand scheme of the world and think about how we interact with people on a daily basis. I don't know. I just find that interesting. And I think it just brings me back to making sure what you're doing is the right thing to do, making sure the people in your life can trust you, making sure that you are doing the right thing 100% of the time. Obviously, you're going to mess up, but then again, you have to understand that, and you have to be prepared to take responsibility. Um, you know, what is the Jocko quote? Extreme ownership. You've got to be prepared to take extreme ownership for your actions. Um, and I don't know. I just find that intriguing, because knowing that and knowing these things, it gives you a new perspective for how you conduct yourself, especially knowing that most of that respect is earned in that first impression. That's why first impressions matter. We say never judge a book by its cover, but as humans, we kind of inherently do. By human nature, we have to, because we needed to be able to judge people off the bat in order to survive for a very, very long time. Um, Figuring out whether someone or something was dangerous. It is an essential part of human nature that makes us judge people, right? And I think judgment is not always the right thing, right? You've got to have empathy. You've got to make sure that you get to know the person before you truly judge them. But whether I tell you to or not, you are always going to draw some conclusion about someone based on the first time you meet them. Yes, that can change over time, but the first time you meet that person, that is when the largest chunk of respect is earned. Earned in drops, lost in buckets. Man, let's see. What should we talk about next? I'd like to just try to at least get two topics in here today, while switching my camera's settings, because every time the light changes, because the sun, it's cloudy. But here's we're gonna move down my notes a little bit, and we're gonna go and talk about mindset, right? How a lot of these things are in your mind. The thing you don't want to do, the thing you believe you can't do, it's far more in your head than anything else. It's far more mental than it is physical. I mean, any runner knows that you don't think you can. Your body's telling you to stop. You cannot get up that hill. You cannot sprint that hill. But when you get to the top of the hill, you made it to the top of the hill. And I think this goes for a lot of things in life. I mean, personally, I see it all the time in my own life. I notice my momentum comes far more from my mentality, and yes, it does come from me doing things. But the way I do things is by making sure my mentality is right, making sure that the way I think about myself is right. Because realistically, none of these external sources matter if you don't respect yourself. No respect from everyone else does not matter if you don't have the respect for yourself. And I don't think it even always comes down to respect. It comes from how you're looking at the world, because if you feel like you're failing, you're going to fail, right? If you let that consume you, you can acknowledge your failure and leverage that into success. But what I have written down in my notebook is the difference between fear and certainty is in your head. And it's a thought I'm exploring, and I think it's true, because if we look at the world, what is, fear and certainty, right? If I'm scared that I'm not going to achieve something, or I'm scared of doing the thing, which I think there is that human fear of, like, you're being attacked by a mountain lion. You should probably be scared, and there's a flight or fight response, and that's warranted. But in the world we live in, where we don't encounter that often, Most of the time it's in our heads, because I can be scared of doing the thing, or I can be certain that I will do the thing. And when I'm certain, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm not going to wait around for someone to tell me to do it. I'm just going to do it. Now, there are going to be good moments and bad moments. Don't ever, and that's kind of a strong statement, and when people do that, I don't like it. But don't ever don't ever let yourself have a bad day. Don't go into the day. Don't take the first hour of your day being bad and extrapolate that to your day. It is a bad moment, because when you let the bad things in your life take over, how do you expect to overcome that? And I'm going to leave you with this. This is going to be my final closing point. I'm going to keep this episode relatively short. I would love to go on forever, but I have to upload this from a coffee shop, and their Wi-Fi isn't great. But I'm excited to do this, because this is new, right? But getting to just express what's on my mind is really, really exciting for me. I'm going to just double check that this is still recording. All right, we are good to keep going. So the last thing I want to leave you guys with is this. Sometimes the thing you need to do to unlock your mind and get ready to go isn't always the thing you wanted to do. The thing you want to do, the thing that you are excited to do. And this is something that I was sharing on my story yesterday, because I was having a slow day. I just couldn't get it going. I woke up tired, which I don't usually wake up tired. Well, I wake up tired, but I go work out and I feel great. I woke up tired, worked out, still felt tired. It was a problem. And I let that take most of my day. Had some coffee, tried to get over it. But the issue is, I was gearing up for this podcast month. This month of podcasting, and it was quite stressful, and that's all I spent my day doing. And so yes, I love podcasting. Yes, I love production. Yes, I love all of these things. But there was a lot of stress there. I was stressed about this. And like I said, it's all in your head. But sometimes you need to do something else to overcome the stress. And so if you're stressed with something mundane, you probably need to do something you're passionate about. But when the stress is caused by something you're passionate about, that's where it gets tough. And you have to understand that that you have to find a task that there's no stress attached to, but you are getting something done that you need to do. So if you're not stressed about doing the dishes, but you need to do the dishes, then do the dishes. And it all comes back to knowing yourself. And I'm going to do another episode of the Eimerl experience on knowing yourself more than anything else. But know what's stressing you out. Know why. And I know it's something I'm struggling with, because it did take me till 6 p.m. to get my mind right yesterday. And that was tough. But you have to know yourself enough to be able to recognize what is causing the stress and what you need to do to overcome it. That's what I'm going to leave you guys with. And I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow for an amazing episode with the one and only Eric Hyde, who is an amazing cop, police officer, father. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for later in the week when we get more of these episodes, when I go out in the field and interview people. But more than anything else, stay positive and get after it. Thank you guys at home for watching. I'm Parker Eimerl. I've been talking with you, and this has been the Eimerl Experience.